Speaking of that column, it got a lot of attention. I texted you, I think, on Sunday because one of our former colleagues in the industry was a little salty about the Sark stuff, the Steve Sarkeesian stuff. You were at the owners' meetings. The trade deadline is approaching. I want to talk about all that, but let's flush out the Sarkeesian stuff and this idea of whether or not, he does land in the NFL, or is it more teams that are interested than him being interested? Where are we in the evolution of that story, if it's evolved any further?
Yeah, well, we know right now that the Tennessee Titans are the only team that have an opening, but we know they won't be the only team come January. So his representation has done a really good job of just making sure that people in the NFL, decision makers, are aware that Sark would have interest in the NFL if it were to ever get to that, right? So this doesn't mean that the Tennessee Titans have strong interest in Steve Sarkeesian. They're just putting together a list right now of candidates that they are planning on meeting with, having conversations internally about what they want the direction of this organization to go in. Do they want to go defensive minded? Do they want to go leader of men? Do they want to go offensive minded, right? Because you've got, of course, Cam Ward, who they still have a lot of confidence in his ability. So the Sark name, and I got a lot of feedback on whether or not he would be a good fit in Tennessee. I think Titans fans were excited about the idea of it. It's obviously still really early. I can tell you from speaking to his agent, Jimmy Sexton, over the phone, Sark is happy coaching Texas right now. He wants to be at Texas right now. And so we'll just see how it goes. So this is really just a matter of just making sure all the options are there, Jay.
Dianna, you've done a lot of reporting around the A.J. Brown and the Eagles situation, despite the impact that it could have on your personal life. I'm curious, what's the latest update? Obviously, A.J. was out last week with the injury. What's that relationship like between him and the organization right now?
So the Philadelphia Eagles will tell you that unless it's a blockbuster offer, they are not moving A.J. Brown. We're about a little less than a week away from that November 4th trade deadline. And A.J. Brown's name is out there because it's very obvious to everyone watching and anyone that's following the Philadelphia Eagles that he's not happy, right? Why isn't he happy? Because he's not part of this offensive game plan consistently for all four quarters. He feels he's only getting used in those tight situations or when they need him. I'm sure we could do a whole show on whether or not he has an argument or not here, and if this is selfish or if this is just somebody that thinks that they can make the team better. All of that, the Eagles are aware, right? They know A.J. Brown is not thrilled, but Nick Sirianni is managing that, and they're trying to do everything they can to build this offense in a way that's run heavy, but that then allows the passing game to open. And I think what we saw last week is what they want to be, right? Like when Saquon is that good, a lot of good things happen. And I think if they can replicate that, that's where they feel that they can really get back to the Super Bowl.
How about a thought on Trey Hendrickson? Because could this week be the difference between, if the Bengals win or the Bengals lose, the difference between them making a decision to part ways with Trey Hendrickson in season and get some assets for him? Or
yeah, that's exactly where we're at. It's a great point. We are at that point where teams are going, we're in or out, right? And I still don't get the sense that Cincinnati wants to move them right now. This, again, could change after these weekend games, depending on how much they think they can get in return, right? Because you have teams. Pass rush is the number one most craved position right now. And, not in Dallas. Jerry Jones told me they are not looking for a pass rusher.
Really? Oh, my God.
Yes. I said, not Micah. He said, I take Micah back if I could get all my picks back.
Oh, my God. Is there a sense that Burrow's going to be back this year?
Yeah, I think so. The timeline isn't as clear to me from when I was talking to people. I think there's hope. There's hope he can get back in December. But you know how these things go. And it is really hard to talk about injuries. And I know I have to do it for a living. But I can't tell you how many times I've discussed even just like something simpler like a hamstring. And it's really individual. You have setbacks, you have guys that push too much, you have guys that don't do anything, you have guys that do Pilates. Like there's all these different ways of recovering. And it's really up to the doctors and how Joe feels. So we'll see where the Bengals are at. And I think it would probably be smart of the Bengals to not rush Joe Burrow back if they're not in contention.
Sam, you got a quick one here? Because we got one more segment with her, but
30 seconds, Diana. There was a move yesterday that made me do the Windhorse fingers. The Patriots restructured a contract and made two trades that were essentially cap trades for a couple of assets. Is there something or someone new coming to New England? And does their name rhyme with Wax Crosby?
Gosh, could you imagine how happy Mike Vrabel would be to have Max Crosby? First of all, those two have a great relationship anyway. I've seen them together at events. They're like each other's dream. But no, I don't think Max Crosby is available. I don't think Myles Garrett is available. I think everyone's looking for the big swing. And look, New England's in a position, they're the opposite of Cincinnati, right? They're in it to win it now. And I mean, I'm still a little surprised that they're this good. 5 straight wins here. So yeah, the opposite. I think just the New England Patriots they're sellers and buyers here, and we saw them selling some assets here. We'll see if they're going to sell more. But they are another team. They are looking at trying to get a pass rush. They need more edge guys. They could use another corner. I see them probably getting someone on defense if it's available more than offense, specific to New England.
Dianna Russini hanging out with us from The Athletic and The New York Times. More with her. One more segment with Dianna Russini coming up next. Hi there. I'm Jason Page. You like what you're watching? Subscribe. We've got SportsWrap shorts on this channel. We've got the show. We've got clips from the show. What else do you have to do? You probably follow a lot of other things that aren't half as exciting as this show is. So what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button, follow the channel, watch the content. Bye.